All right, good evening, everyone. I'll call in the order Burbank Unified School District Board of Education regular meeting Thursday, April 3rd, 2025. All right. We acknowledge the traditional, ancestral, unceded territory of Chumash, Tongva, Fernando, Tatwam, and the First Nation in which we are learning, educating, and living. Mr. Hawk, would you please lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance?
What is my place to stand here? All right. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Hawk. Ms. Kietera, please take the roll call at this time.
Member Cano? Present. Member Weisberg?
Present.
Clerk Tabbitt?
Present.
Vice President Contra Kamkar?
Present.
President Agakanian?
Present. We have all 5 members here. That's a quorum. Reporting on closed session, there was one item 3D. There was a motion made by Board Clerk Ms. Tabbitt and Vice President Panzer Kamkar, and there were 5 no's on the item. Next, adjustment to the agenda. Any of my, we're going to be pulling everyone item 8A, recognition of the Skills USA participants of 2025. It will be brought forward on the April 17 meeting. Any other items?
Sorry, I just want to mention that our student board members are not here today.
We're going to miss them. Any items for future?
Yes.
Dr. Weisberg.
Thank you so much. At a reasonable future date, I would love to get a report back on all the contracting out we're doing in special education, and perhaps some cost analysis on what it would cost to use Burbank Unified employees versus the contracts that we're currently, there were a lot on last agenda and a few on this agenda. Thank you.
Anything else? Everyone okay with that? All right, thank you. We're going to item 9, reports from the board. Since our students are not here, we're going to go to 9B. We have our BTA present here. Mr. Brisky. Rebecca, sorry. Good evening, how are you?
Good evening, Board President Armand Agikanian and members of the board education members, Superintendent Paramo, our BUSD staff. My name is Nicole Trebecki. I am a PE teacher at Dolores Huerta. I have been in the district 18 years, started off at Burbank High, did some elementary PE for 8 years at Jefferson, Edison, a little bit of Washington, a little bit of Miller. Declining enrollment, I moved to Huerta, which was Jordan at the time, had to do some distance learning, definitely watch some YouTube videos to figure out how to do that. And I have been 4 years in person at Dolores Huerta. Just want to give a shout out to our principal, Robin Hatch. I don't know how often you get to talk with her or meet with her. I think she's doing a phenomenal job. I did commend her last week on her communication that she does to our parents and our community. If we have an incident, I like the growth that I've seen in her in the past 2 years. It's been very nice to see less kids outside of the classroom. It's been a huge improvement from 3 years ago. And so I just wanted to say she's doing a great job. And if you could send that message her way, I am seeing that just as a teacher. So I want to acknowledge my conversation with Julie Markinson and Oscar Macias. We had a nice conversation about home health. So, like I've said, I've been in the district 18 years, and I have not had a student yet get ill enough to be on home health. But I recently did a site visit to Luther Middle School, and there are, I believe, about 5 teachers there that are dealing with students who are too ill to come to school. And I was able to talk to one of those 5 members, and they just felt like they didn't get any type of handout or checklist about how it all works. I think they've talked to the home health teacher only one time. And so what I was telling to Oscar and Julie is there needs to be a packet or a little more communication, how it all works, what's required of the general ed teacher. And so they know how to give grades. I think some teachers had some concerns about giving grades when they don't really know how the students are doing. Oscar and Julie said that in your summer, when you have your training with your admin, that they were going to be talking with principals and assistant principals. And obviously, when we come back to school in August, it would be great if we could get handouts from the Print Center to all of our members. Hey, this is how home health works. It might happen to you one time. I just think our members don't quite understand how it all works and would like some guidance. Oscar said that's going to happen. So if you could try to have that on your radar as you plan for your summer training with your admin, I think that would be great. I thought we have had a very nice, cordial discussion during closed session, during bargaining. As I said before, I represent all of our members, teachers, nurses, speech language, and our counselors, and there is a lot of pressure on me from our elementary who do have a lot of responsibilities with lots of subjects. I am hoping that some state funding will come from Gavin Newsom to help us out, and just looking for good things to hear next week on Wednesday from you guys. And I appreciate talking with you guys. I know recently we had an incident at one of our locations that is near Huerta. I'm glad there's been some meetings to talk with our principal to answer any questions or concerns that they have. And I do realize that some of you are busy doing your investigations, possibly with the police department, but the sooner you can tell our admin, the sooner they can let us know. I think that would be helpful. You know, when I did come back to Huerta from the union office, it was odd to see both gates close, and I could not park my car there. I physically had to open the gate, drive my car through, and close it behind me. It was a ghost town over there, which you normally don't see that. And I think we actually had an ice cream party for Dolores Huerta for kids who had fundraised for our PE department. Scooping ice cream, I had a small opportunity to talk to Robin Hatch, and I did see the worry in her eyes as an admin. And just as a union president, that did concern me because there are 6 of us that do park on the back side by the service center, mainly 4 PE teachers, an art teacher, and a math teacher. And so I had heard about the incident from our HR person, Sarah Vidachenko, but I did not know that everyone was sent home. And so here I am still parking in that location. So I think that was one of the concerns for Miss Hatch, our principal. And I just think if we have future incidents, let's be more prepared and let's do it quicker, because my biggest concern is I never want us to be flat-footed. Okay, because we know there's going to be another incident, something, somewhere. That's just the nature we live in. And I think the more we can prepare for things like that, it only makes us stronger. I've always been a big advocate of continuing to make BUSD evolve and learning from experiences. And I think that's helpful for everyone. I want to give a shout out to the gentleman that's sitting next to me, Nathan. Nathan was a student at Burbank High, and he was one of my PE students when I was there. Steve Lasser was there. And this is an old administration that was there. We had Bruce Osgood, Hani Youssef, Heather O'Keefe, Doug Barry. And he actually became a nurse and saw that maybe that wasn't his passion and is going a different route. And I think it's all about, following your dreams. And I'm happy to hear that he has this card filled out to talk about public comment about him. And it's just been great to see someone like that. It makes me feel older. And I like to see that he's doing good things in the community. And this is a student who's been a product of Burbank schools. And our Burbank schools are great. great, and this is why people live and want to stay here. And I appreciate our administration trying to make our schools better and dealing with our newcomers that we have. And we want them to keep coming to Burbank, and we welcome all of them. And I love my 8th grade class of English language learners, 8 Armenian, 2 Russian, and continue to work on ways for them to continue to do well in school and not be, do things they shouldn't do. So I just want to say I appreciate your support with our English language learners. They are our future of Burbank. We need them, and they are here to help us with our enrollment. So thanks for your time tonight, and hope you have a good evening.
Thank you very much, Ms. Dubecki. And Burbank is great, thanks to our faculty, staff, students, teachers, and students. So thank you very much. All right, 9C, reports from Superintendent. Dr. Paramo.
Thank you. Thank you, Nicole. I appreciate your comments today. I will just give a short comment on negotiations. I feel that we are very close to trying to figure out this PE thing, and I feel that we'll have a productive meeting on Wednesday. And I have every confidence that we will reach a resolution, and one that will be acceptable for everybody. As far as the incident that occurred in facilities, I just have a few broad comments. It's important that when we have an incident that we are meeting with employees to figure out what is going to make them feel comfortable if there is an unsafe situation. And I was very proud of our district team in the way in which they immediately went to the district facility center and met with employees and spoke to them and shared what information we had and solicited their feedback on what would make them feel safe. And essentially what occurred in collaboration with our employees was a safety plan. And that plan included a single point of entry where normally at the district service center, there are multiple points of entry. It was agreed upon that we would keep the gates locked and closed just in an abundance of caution to make sure everyone was safe. And the request came that maybe we could get someone to secure and man the gate so that if it needed to be opened, someone would have to show their ID. We would have to confirm that they belonged there, and then they would be allowed to come in. All of that sounds reasonable to me, and so we agreed to that. I was happy that we were able to do that for them. The issue was more of a logistical issue. How do I do that at a snap of a finger? And it's impossible. So what we decided to do was to let our employees go home at the end of the day. And what we said to them is, please go home, relax. When you come back to work tomorrow, we will have everything in place and we'll have security at the gates and you can feel safe coming to work. And that is what we did. And we quickly went to work on securing a professional service to come out and to be there today, this morning, and we will have them there for the rest of the week. It's really difficult to control miscommunication and rumor, and it was abundant in this situation. I heard rumors that facilities was on a lockdown, which never occurred. I was told that people from Huerta should be traveling with groups of 4 or 5 teachers to go to the parking lot for security measures. That was simply not necessary because Dolores Huerta was never in any danger. I am learning that I need to be more emphatic with our principals and have them understand that if they haven't heard from me, it's because you're safe and there's no need to worry, which was the case in this situation. We took this as a learning opportunity. I went down to Dolores Huerta and met with the principal along with Dr. Macias and Julie, and we had a long discussion on how things could be done better. What I want the community to understand is that we have been operating this entire year short-staffed. This is something that the principal at Huerta completely understands because she is now operating with one assistant principal when she normally has two. So she was very sympathetic. And the fact of the matter is that I don't have a director of secondary yet. I don't have a second person in instruction. And so what that means is that we are working with a shorter amount of people. What occurred on that day was one of 3 different significantly tragic things that were happening in our community all at the same time. All at the same time. So when we dismissed the facilities group at 1 o'clock and I could check the boxes that everyone was safe, I was not able to go to the computer and whip out a message because I was on my way to Edison to deal with the emergency that was going on there. The message did go out around 3-ish, 3:30-ish, which is the fastest time that we had to be able to put the communication out. So can we do better? Yes, we can do better. Could that communication be more timely? Yes. We now hired a director of secondary ed. Now we just need to fill the director of student services and we will be fully staffed, and communication and the opportunities to communicate could be greater. So I appreciate the feedback. I think we are great, not just good, but great. I think we could still be greater. And it's my goal to make that happen. And I feel, at least with the feedback I got today from Principal Hatch, that we are in a good spot. And I was able to give her a little bit more context about what was going on, and I think she has a better understanding. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Paramo. Now we're going to item 10, request to address the board, public communications on agenda items and any subject within the jurisdiction of the school board. An individual or group representative present this evening may address the Board of Education of any agenda items or any subject within the jurisdiction of the school board by completing a white request card and turning it to Ms. Cuetero. Speakers are requested to state their name prior to speaking to the board. Not more than 5 minutes may be alluded to each speaker except by unanimous consent of the Board of Education. The superintendent may refer the matter to the proper department for review. The district is providing alternatives to in-person attendance for viewing and participating. I can see we have no virtual speakers, right? Thank you. All right, the first person, we have Rebecca Rosenweig.
I've never spoken in a microphone before, so. Good evening, everyone. My name is Rebecca Rosenzweig, and I'm really happy to be here this evening. I am a Master's of Social Work student at USC and a local community member. I have lived here all my life, and also I'm autistic. In honor of Autism Acceptance Month, my goal is to start a conversation in the schools in my community about sensory differences and autism in the classroom. I have spent the last few years leading trainings on autism and sensory differences for schools and organizations across the country and internationally. The most common challenge I have seen in schools is mistaking sensory overstimulation for a behavioral problem. Autistic people perceive sensory input differently than non-autistic people. Sometimes this means we are more sensitive. A seemingly quiet noise like a handheld pencil sharpener might be painful for someone with autism, or a colorful classroom might be too much for our visual systems to take in all at once. Sensory overload can feel painful, scary, or disorienting. It can even feel like your body is floating away. When an autistic child is overwhelmed with such sensory challenges in the classroom, they may react in all sorts of ways, such as yelling, crying, or even throwing things. At this junction, kids usually get in trouble. Maybe they are told that they need a timeout, or they need to just practice waiting. However, perhaps the autistic student is actually just overstimulated. Their system is in a panic and they are frantic, trying to do anything they can to make the sensations in their body stop. By the time autistic children become teenagers, they have endured sensory issue after sensory issue at school and have been met with behavioral interventions over and over. Eventually, they lose trust in the adults who are supposed to support them because of repeated misunderstanding and not getting their sensory needs met. These kids grow up into young adults who are anxious, depressed, and misunderstood. Many have not even heard the term sensory processing. They don't know how their sensory systems work and don't have the right vocabulary to advocate for their sensory needs. Instead, they have been led to believe that they are a behavior problem. In summary, most autistic children do not have the words or skills necessary yet to identify sensory overwhelm and ask for help. Most adults who work with or care for autistic kids are not well versed in sensory perception differences in autistic people. They may not have the knowledge necessary to distinguish sensory overwhelm from a behavioral problem, since they often look the same on the outside. They may also not know how to help an overstimulated student re-regulate. As a result, sensory differences in autistic people are often misunderstood as behavioral outbursts, non-compliance, or purposeful classroom disruption. In order to stop this cycle, it is necessary to provide education to faculty and staff on how sensory processing differences may present in their autistic students. It is my hope to help people who work with and care for autistic students to understand how we perceive the world around us. With greater awareness of the sensory perception differences in autistic students, classroom behavior can be better managed and autistic students can be better understood. Thank you for your time.
Next, we have Nathan Casapao.
Just so you know, we respond at the end, so you'll hear from us again.
So don't leave.
Great pronunciation, sir. All right. Hello, good evening, President, Vice President, and members of the board. My name is Master Nathan, and I am excited to announce that I am opening, or I have opened, a new martial arts school in Burbank. It is located in the Pavilions lot right next to Blink Fitness. I come to you today as a Burbank native, as well as my uncle, who is the founder of Beyond Martial Arts. He is also a Burbank native who has also gone through the whole Burbank school system, and we are excited to bring our curriculum to the community to give back. I stand before you today as a practitioner of martial arts for 26 years, and I feel like it has given me the confidence to stand in front of you today. Beyond kicking and punching, it goes into a different curriculum, what we like to call life skills, and that is our main focus with our martial arts program. The life skills that we like to highlight are things such as confidence, discipline, self-control, and focus, and we really like to go into those words, into those details, just to explain to our children what that even means. Yes, so on top of that, we also offer things such as bully awareness and self-defense for bullies. And we teach our children that there are ways to deter a bully without even raising a single hand. Things such as standing tall, standing with your back straight, standing with confidence. Teaching them that confidence is to believe in yourself, and that's some things that we like to emphasize. So if you'd like to check us out, you can check us out on our Instagram at Beyond Martial Arts Burbank, and you can also check out our website at BMA Burbank. We are currently open for all ages, so it's not just for children. If adults are looking to get some fitness in as well, as old as you want, as old as you can. We primarily focus on Taekwondo, which is known for flexibility and mobility. So that's what we like to emphasize with our adults and preventing injury as well. So thank you for your time, board. It was nice to talk to you. Bye-bye. Thank you.
Thank you. And last but not least, Mr. Eric Hawk.
Okay. Hey, and good evening to the wonderful members of the Burbank School Board, terrific family of the district staff here, and others who've taken time out of their evening to participate in tonight's meeting. Thanks for certainly letting me join you in the Pledge of Allegiance. I realize it's probably been close to about a half century since I was last asked to lead in the Pledge of Allegiance. So if I made any mistakes, please blame my own rustiness and not my own home school district of the Los Angeles Unified School District for that. So. Okay, I know you guys just saw me last week, but this will be my last opportunity that I have to speak with y'all about the Burbank Community Band's upcoming show on the main stage of Burbank High School at the main auditorium on Saturday, April 12th at 2 p.m. And so on Saturday, April 12th at 2 p.m., the Burbank Community Band will perform a terrific show at Burbank's very own high school, Burbank High School, and the band will be celebrating its 85th year since first founded by employees of Lockheed here in Burbank in 1940. So I don't forget, this will be a free concert as well. The Sound of Burbank concert meant to be a love letter to our hometown, celebrating not only the band's history, but the fascinating eras that Burbank has experienced while the band has been rehearsing and performing in this community. Band will be highlighting music from Lockheed's days of manufacturing at what's now Burbank Airport, and also the wonderful creativity and imagination that's come from the studios here in Burbank of Warner Brothers, NBC, and there's one, and Disney, of course, making this the media capital of the world. And there'll be some terrific classic concert band pieces that'll highlight some of the wonderful and talented musicians that are in our band as well. Come every Friday morning here to rehearse and get ready for a show like this. emceeing our concert is going to be someone familiar across Los Angeles. It'll be Fritz Coleman, a weatherman of local NBC for almost 40 years. Really happy to have him. Also happy to have our conductor, Michael Stanley, who's been perfecting some wonderful pieces, including the title theme from the main score of Warner Brothers' 1940 swashbuckler film with Errol Flynn, The Seahawk. So that's a great piece, too. Rhapsody in Blues celebrating its 100th anniversary, so we have a lead clarinetist as well as a guest pianist who will be trying to do justice to that wonderful piece as well. So this is, and we also have a commissioned piece, which is from a 1942 film, or a commissioned piece that we are drawing for a 1942 film called Wings for the Eagle, in which there was filming done on the Lockheed plant, which showed what would become the Burbank Community Band, the Lockheed Employees Band. They're on the performing at a lunch break for their colleagues. So I'm happy to report this concert's being funded in part by the Burbank Arts Grant, and the band is very appreciative of the city's support for this grant for local artists here in the community. And this show promises to be a really fun event. Looking forward to seeing all y'all who can make it there at the show. You all know where Burbank High School is, so should be easy to get to. And also thanks to Recording Secretary Quintero for making sure that helping distribute the notice of the concert on the district's digital bulletin board as well. So once again, that's Saturday, April the 12th, 2 p.m., main stage or the main auditorium at Burbank High School, free concert. And after this, I got to go home and practice and get ready for the show. So thank you very much, and I will hand some extra copies to the recording secretary. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Hogg. All right, board comments. Superintendent's comments, sorry.
Sir, I am excited that you're having another concert, and we will definitely make sure to put that out. We can put that out on Facebook, and Cindy, maybe we can do a BUSD news as well. So if we scan it and put it on, maybe we can reach a broader audience. So you have a good turnout. Yeah. I am so happy, excited that you came out here and took the time to address us. I think the thing that was so profound for me is that you're such an articulate speaker, and to hear some of the things I already knew, but coming from someone who's actually autistic, really brings a lot of credibility that might not otherwise be there. And so I think that's really powerful. You sound, just based on your credentials, that you're a pretty busy young lady. But if you have any interest in speaking to a group of principals about your experience and about what it's like to be overstimulated and what that is, I think that is going to be so well received because you bring a level of credibility that is going to be much different than if I try to tell them that. So if that's something you're interested in, please let us know. I should be easy to find on email. So if you're interested in that, just reach out and let us know. And it is so, sir, it is so funny because one of the things I've done as superintendent to kind of deal with the stress of my job is to do personal training. And my personal trainer has been trying to get me to do martial arts for probably the last 4 months. And I feel like I'm too old for all that. Never too old. Well, I will take your word for it. I was exchanging a couple words with Dr. Kanapik, and so we'll reach out to you. We kind of have some ideas we're brainstorming about how this can be beneficial for our kids. And so we'll reach out. And Dr. Kanapik says that he wants to sign up for 10 lessons, and then he'll decide if he's going to stay on permanently or not.
He's very dangerous, deadly. He's a ninja. Dr. Kanapik is a ninja.
It will, yeah. Thank you, sir. I appreciate it so much.
Dr. Weisberg.
Thank you. Okay, hold on. Let me get my notes up. Beep, boop, boop, boop. Rebecca, first of all, fight on. Oh, it's a dais full, yeah. Sorry. Ew. Thank you. I hope you could hear, maybe you couldn't because it's nerve-wracking up there, but so many people up here going, yes, yeah, nodding and saying, yeah, I think it's such a huge part. I also teach, and so that's been a big learning curve for me as well. And I think one of the great things about what you shared is how easy it was to access and understand. So I hope we can have more people get exposed to that because I do think it's something we don't talk enough about. And the thing that I'm going to reflect on the most when I think about what you said later on too is sort of the lasting effect and how it can make a student feel like they don't have support systems in the classroom. If you continuously have a teacher who is punishing you or penalizing you for something that you have no control over, right? And like it's a reaction, it's not an intentional negative response, that's going to make you not want to listen to your teachers or trust your admin. And so that's something I hadn't thought as much about. So I really appreciate you giving me something new to think about. And just hopefully we'll have future conversations. So thank you. Thank you for doing something that's not the easiest or most comfortable, but it's really important. And I know we have plenty of people watching who are going to be really excited. I wish you had been here last week. We read the resolution, and one of our biggest advocates was here, and she would have loved to have connected with you. So thank you. Nathan, yeah, also, it's time to do Taekwondo. Maybe it's time. Thank you so much, and this is a great opportunity. One of the things that, because of all of our super fun funding cuts is we don't have a lot of organized sports, especially in middle school, so helping our students find alternative ways of engaging is super, super important. So this seems like a great opportunity to share with them. So I really appreciate you taking the time. Mr. Hawk, as always, you're the bee's proverbial knees. I'm going to start a petition that I will sign to not have concerts be on the first night of Passover, because that's a huge bummer. So I may be able to sneak in for a little bit and have to sneak out and do the Seder thing. But I know there's lots of people, Jewish members of the community, who would probably have turned out and aren't going to be able to now. So maybe it's something to talk about when you're scheduling. We have like 3 big holidays, and that would be one of them. So I'll be there for a little bit, but I'm super excited. And you just are like such a positive, wonderful breath of fresh air every time you come. And you do the same thing, I think, for the community that you do for us when you show up, which is you just make us happy and make us excited about what you do because you're so excited about what you do. And just quickly, we'll say thank you to Mr. Becky, as always, for your partnership and for your leadership. I always take a bunch of notes when you're talking about things I need to follow up on, but I know we'll continue to have conversations, not just after negotiations next week, but beyond. And I'm glad that Dr. Prama was able to clarify a little bit about the craziness that was this week. I think, people often come to us during negotiations, and I understand it, right? They say, well, why aren't you making cuts at the district level? Well, because we made all of those, and there isn't anyone left. There's like 4 people in a rubber band running the entire district. And you do see it manifest in days like, what day is it? What time has no meaning? Tuesday, where there were 2, 3 really enormous things that happened at once, and we didn't have the bodies. I think we did an exceptional job for the people that we had, and I was really proud of everybody for hitting the ground running and addressing things so proactively, but we weren't able to be everywhere we wanted to be in the timeline we wanted to be in because we have a limited staff. And I think it's something to keep in mind, that having, I would never argue for an enormous amount of people, but if you do a comparative look at our surrounding districts that have a comparable student population, for every one of us, there's 8 district admin. And so when we think about that, really the admin is here to make the job of our teachers and our staff easier, better, more supported. And when we eliminate staff at a district level, the same way when students are affected when we eliminate our phenomenal teachers and staff, so too are our teachers and admin affected when we are so bare bones as we are now. And obviously it's not something we can avoid. This is what happens. And I know that it was before my time on the board when the district office, all the positions were gutted, but I know that the priority when they made those cuts was because they wanted to save the cuts from the classroom for as long as possible. So it's a really important thing to note as we work on getting better and more responsive, and your feedback's always great, Mr. Becky, and gives us stuff to think about. And I also love it when someone comes up and shouts out one of our admin. I don't think our principals get enough positive feedback and recognition, so it's really special and important to hear you do that tonight. So thank you for that.
Thank you, Dr. Weisberg. Board Member Kano.
Okay. First off, Ms. Rosenweig? Okay. Wanted to say that it was really super interesting right now to hear. I'm a social studies teacher, and so you would what we'd call you as a primary source. Okay. So to hear that, you made me think about students right now in my classroom that I know. I have one girl that her mom came in and told me, she says she's very, sensory in terms of, she hasn't been identified, mom didn't tell me it was any spectrum, but just she's got anxiety. So that idea of, sound. So when I have the videos on like Promethean board, I'm very aware now, and it's super easy for me to turn it down and just make sure and kind of look at her and, kind of like, is like, that's okay. And she's like, oh yeah. So, just that kind of dialogue that I'd never had before. So that idea that you and what you're doing studying in your master's maybe is just developing maybe that lexicon that can help us teachers in the classroom so we can have those words to be able to just those kind of keywords that we can be able to use. What you said, just to make the sensation stop. And that really hit me because just interestingly today I was talking to the PE teacher and I said, oh, I'm kind of tired. And he goes, oh, you need a Red Bull. I go, oh, no. I said, I'd know. And he goes, why? He goes, it gives you wings. I go, no, I think it would probably make me feel like I'm having anxiety. I said, I would hate that feeling and I thought about that when you said make the sensation stop, that you don't want to have that feeling. So thank you so much. And I really look forward to seeing more and hearing more of your work and, what the collaboration we might have here. In terms of the martial arts, I'm so glad you gave me this. I have a 7-year-old grandson. And the idea that you were saying in terms of building that confidence and bullying, and when I'm thinking in terms of that idea of conflict resolution, we do a lot with socio-emotional learning now, the idea of even PBIS of going under the positive, and that idea of, making you stand stronger, making you stand taller. Sometimes that just, they say that, even when you're getting attacked by a bear, stand up tall. So, those are just some super, super, interesting and just, again, made me think. So I think definitely thank you for this because my grandson may be there. And then, Mr. Hawk, definitely. Always, I would like to definitely try. There's a lot of things going on the course on the 12th. But like I think I'd said previously, my dad was a musician, professional, and so local 47. And so I really want, again, to expose my grandson to all the different, especially through the years, because I realize now, because I'm old, that when I was a kid, you got to hear a lot of different stuff on the radio, and now it's just so, just the genres are all so separated that it would be kind of cool to hear that. And then, yeah, lastly, Nicole, I did really appreciate hearing that, say about Robin Hatch, because I actually did get a chance to meet with her about 3 weeks ago. I just stopped by and visited with her, and it was really nice to be able to, hear her where she's going and her positive outlook and stuff. So, yeah, that was it. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Board Clerk Tabbitt.
Thank you so much for all of the speakers who came down today. It's kind of refreshing to have folks come and talk about the things that brings them joy and happiness, a new business, music, your work as a graduate student at the University of Southern California. Everybody, thank you. It's great to have you come down, Rebecca. Thank you. You made me stop and think. I am I was a teacher a while back, but you also made me think of my current friends and family, and that moment where you go, oh, I get it now. It makes so much sense. It just gives you a little bit of understanding and patience to say to yourself, okay, now I know how to approach this person better, or now I know how to communicate or work or whatever the answer is. So thank you for that. I think I learned more today from you and your little bit of conversation than I've had the opportunity to do in a long time. So as one Trojan to another, thank you for that. And keep it up. Nathan, best of luck on your new enterprise. It's always great for our community youth to have choices. Team sports is always fun and great, but it's not for everybody, and there needs to be alternatives, and you're providing that, and I appreciate it. Thank you. Mr. Hawk, yeah, I know, and I'm a band geek from way back. I was in my first band when I was 13 with the Burbank Police Youth Band. Have you heard that in a while? Yes, so it's always a special place in my heart for the community band, and I cannot attend the 12th because I have something really big going on in my world, but I will be thinking of you guys and hoping for the best concert, and I will get to one eventually. Thank you. I think I got everybody. And Nicole, we've talked, so thank you for coming out again.
Thank you, Board Clerk. Vice President Ponzo-Kamkar.
Thank you, Dr. Agakanian. Mr. Hawk, thank you as always for coming and advocating for the Burbank Community Band. I just checked my calendar and I have to go to a baby shower at that time, unfortunately, but I'm going to try to see if my children can still somehow come and support. They need things to do while I'm out. Master Nathan, congratulations on the new business. It's very exciting, and thank you for sharing it with us so we can share it with the community. And Mr. Becky, the thing that occurred to me as you were talking about the home health piece, I had to do in my old job an attendance audit. And one of the things that was most frustrating was when there were students on home health, it really made a difference of how communicative the teacher was with the school and with the home teachers, right? Or the classroom teachers. And so I love the idea of getting a primer for our classroom teachers. I think that's a great idea, especially because if we were to get audited and it's not clear that those students have necessarily been receiving educational services, we have a big financial problem on our hands. And we want to make sure that they're getting every service that they're entitled to. And then, Ms. Rosenweig, thank you so much. I just thank you for the really thoughtful, detailed explanation of how how overstimulation can look like a behavior issue, right? It was something that I knew, but I feel like it was really helpful for you to talk it through, and what it looks like when students get older. What really resonated for me was this thought that, if we can help our educators deal with sensory perception differences, and they can help students regulate their emotions, their behavior, right? that's a helpful skill for them to have with any student that's dysregulated, right? And post-COVID, we're seeing so much dysregulated emotions, right? And behaviors. And sometimes it's a sensory perception difference, right? But those skills still work the same. So thank you for coming and for sharing that with us. I appreciate it.
Thank you very much. So, Ms. Rosenzweig, thank you. You were very articulate, and I do appreciate. I've said this before. I've been very involved with. I'm going to age myself as to be part of the Autism Speaks when they were headquartered in Burbank, when I used to be the liaison for the California Health Committee. So kind of. But it's important to bring this item forward, and I really appreciate it. And by the way, some of us went to Pepperdine, So sorry. The only thing I see USC is my wife's student loan payments that's coming. Great school, by the way. So thank you very much. That was wonderful, and we really appreciate you bringing this item forward, because I learned also something new. So thank you. Mr. Casapao, I'm Armenian, so growing up, it's two things mandatory. If you have to play piano and you have to do martial arts, it's kind of like, yeah, I did do that for a while. I do martial arts now, but I do kendo, so don't give me a stick But again, I appreciate it, because it did, growing up, it did help also, learning about discipline and, I come from the Bruce Lee era where everyone was doing Kung Fu for a while, but Taekwondo is not easy, but you can do it, John. Anyone can do it. Yeah, he can show you how to do it. So I appreciate this, bringing this forward, and I think it's important for our students. We were talking about PE earlier. Studies show that, students, especially nowadays, they need to get out there, they need to do more sports. It gets them out of their little social, technical, the virtual worlds that they're in right now. Trust me, we got a 13-year-old who goes into his room, and good luck getting him out. So we encourage him to do other things like martial arts, piano. So thank you for doing this, and again, thank you for sharing this with us. This is wonderful. And you said you were a Burbank graduate, right?
Yes, sir.
Oh, thanks. See, a proud Burbank graduate. Thank you. Mr. Hogg, thank you very much again. Again, for those of you who don't know, here it is. This organization is free. If you've never been to any of these concerts, you should. The level of musicianship, and it's wonderful. And someone who plays wind instruments, I've been to several of your events, and I just love it. And we have Maestro Stanley, who is wonderful, another Burbank product, right? But it's a free event. For those of you, the reason it's free is because of grants, but also they can always use support. So go to their website and support them, because it's free. But again, someone has to pay the bills. So I really appreciate you bring this forward. I also encourage more of individuals and families. Again, just like PE, music can also help you, Study after study shows that individuals who play music think differently, in sense of logical thinking, even in the corporate world now. There's a lot of demand for individuals, especially who have a master's or a doctoral in music, because they speak another language also, which is the music language. And before I forget, I also want to thank you and our friends from, was it Oboe Foundation, or for donating the tubas that we needed? Just one. Was it tubas or tuba? Tuba.
And a euphonium, which is a slightly
Oh, and a euphonium.
And a euphonium, thank you. So tuba and a
Thanks
euphonium.
for the clarification.
Thank you. So thank you very much. And again, our students, there's only so many times you can fix a tuba, right? So thank you for doing that. And Mr. Becky, again, thank you very much for bringing some of these issues forward. I think what I'm proud of, and I always brag about it, is the fact that we have not only a functioning board where we all communicate, but also staff and also teachers, and we communicate on regular basis. And I think that's the key for us being, one of the best school districts in the United States, because we communicate all the time. We understand what the issues are, and I really appreciate that, because I look at some other districts and I'm like, wow, I just saw a video of a district where the person got up and was yelling at someone, literally. You know which one I'm talking about, Ms. Cano. It's kind of we'll say it later. Close to where you work. Yeah. And then Ms. Cano also, Red Bull gives you wing, but if you try Armenian coffee, it gives you jets. So if you ever had Armenian coffee, if you never had it, you will fly. And you had it already? Good. All right. So anyways, thank you, and thank you very much to all of our speakers. Now we're going to go to 11, reports to the board. 11A, report on developer fee justification study. Mr. Cantwell.
Good evening, board members, Dr. Paramo, colleagues and community. This will be a very brief presentation, but this is the first of 3 agenda items all connected tonight. We will be holding a public hearing briefly or soon on this topic. The state allocation board sets the rates that districts may charge for developer fees. That's the growth fee fund that we have. That's Fund 25 for those who are looking at our financials. The purpose of this fund is to help compensate the district and help the district afford for construction or reconstruction cost tied to new development. So this would be when there are new housing units or new commercial units that come online in the community. The individuals who are doing that construction pay a one-time cost to help offset the impact of, again, that development on student enrollment. Now, here's the big kind of elephant in the room. We're in declining enrollment, so why would we be doing this, and why does this report indicate that we are anticipating growth? The way that the report is written is a bit confusing, but the key takeaway is the same, which is that we know that the development in this community is going to generate new students to the district. And but for that development and those corresponding new students, we would have fewer classrooms and fewer buildings that need maintenance and support. And so the funding source is intended for us to be able to cover the cost of, again, construction and reconstruction at any of our sites that are experiencing the impact of that student growth. This is something that, again, we've been doing for a long time. We actually could have brought this rate increase to you last year in January, but we held off for a year in part. We had a different priority that we were focused on for funding school construction, but this is one of the other ways that the local community is able to help support schools in the cost of school facility improvement. So the study was done, and the 3 things that they're looking at is a burden nexus. That's to say, do we anticipate development which will bring students? The report conclusively states yes. Cost nexus, is there a cost associated with having students? Again, this is kind of that but-for test. If it were not for the new students that come, would we have fewer facilities to maintain? And again, the report says unequivocally yes. And the benefit nexus, and that is to say that the funds that are generated through this funding source going back into our facilities to construct and reconstruct classroom space, will that be tied out to the locations, the sites where we are seeing the impact? And the answer is yes. And so, again, in a few minutes, we'll be holding a public hearing, and then we'll be asking for your support to adopt the rate increase, which is, again, a year delayed from when we could have, but what we felt was the appropriate time given the analysis that's been completed by Total School Solutions.
All right, who wants to go first?
So I have 2 questions. The first is like on the rates themselves, right? So I make up that the commercial rate is lower than the residential rate just because commercial properties are generally larger or
That, and also there's a lower correspondence or a lower correlation between commercial development and then students coming to our district, because it's only a rate factor, a 25% rate factor of employees of that commercial location, which have students who will matriculate ultimately to the district.
even though anyone who works 10 or more hours a week in Burbank can attend a Burbank school.
That's correct.
Or send their children to Burbank schools. The other question I have is, there was if you go to page 13 of this study, or maybe it's 8, I guess, technically. It's 13 on my PDF.
Page 8?
Page 8 of the study, it's showing increasing enrollment,
Right.
which is, I assume it's basically adding these developments to current enrollment, and they did not consider in any part of this report our Perkins Eastman facilities master plan, any of that, while they were doing this. Is that
That's right. So this is a very technical procedural step necessary for the rate increase. Total School Solutions does this as they're really one of only about 2 or 3 in the state that do them for all school districts. And so the way that the state asks us to do the analysis is to not account for declining enrollment. Because again, what this is looking at is the impact based on current enrollment and then extrapolating forward the impact of new students. And so even though, going back to what I said, we know that our overall enrollment will decline, and that does not change because of future development in this community, the impact that that development will have on our school is a positive one. It does mean more kids than if we didn't have the development, but because of that, there is a cost to maintain the campuses available to those kiddos.
I'm really glad that this is on the same agenda as our enrollment update.
Yeah.
You may not be able to answer this, so this may be something perhaps that is brought forward at a joint meeting with the city. But in looking at, I'm on page 6, where it talks about there's going to be about 1,100 housing units per year for 8-year period from 2021 to 2029. The thing that I don't know, and I've asked Burbank city officials but have not gotten answers, how many of those units will be units where families can live? How many of them will be affordable? Because we know there's different gradations of affordable housing. And
Right,
so
right.
looking at 1,097 housing units, in theory, generating this many possible students is, I mean, it's purely hypothetical if we don't know from the city how many of those units are actually going to be dedicated to the possibility of if we're talking about a bunch of studios and 1 bedrooms, I mean, that cancels out an enormous amount of it. So I think a more nuanced conversation has to be had about, are you thinking about that when you're divvying up these new housing units that are proposed to be built? So I don't know if you can speak to that at all.
Well, I mean, you're spot on. And so just a reminder, Perkins Eastman did, as part of the master plan process, do a enrollment projection that did account for all known development that was in the improvement funnel or the entitlement funnel with the city, and accounting for the specific project and the specific allocation of those units. And so I don't have them off the top of my head, but there's no question the vast, vast majority of those are the studio and the single bedroom in a large multi-family dwelling. And so what that means is, large apartment buildings that are going to have, high density, low occupancy on individual units, which does not drive student enrollment in the community. That's right.
Any other questions? So, so I know sometimes also people think that just because you see all these developments, we're going to make a lot of money as a school district. Just for clarification purposes, can you elaborate a little on that factor that we don't get? So when someone develops a new property, what do we get?
Yeah, only this. That's a great point. So again, many other states, local property values or local property taxes, number one driver to fund local schools. Not the case in California. Local control funding formula pulls all of that local funding up to the state level, redistributes out. So let's hypothetically say that we have a new $100 million housing development come into the community. We would not see a single increased dollar to the school district outside of these developer fees. the property value that it would be assessed on that site would be going up to the state and would not directly lead to any increased funding to the schools in Burbank. So yeah, this is the only, and it's only a one time. So again, these large property value, or these large properties that may have a large property value is not in any way impacting the local revenue base for our schools beyond this one-time function that only can be used for facilities. These are not funds that can go toward the operations of the district or for classroom staffing or anything like that. But yeah, great point.
All right. Yes, Vice President Kamkar.
So I know we've talked about being able to unlock some of these funds from where they've been sitting. Do we have a plan for how we would use these? Does it kind of roll into what we've been talking about using bond funds for? Are they more or less flexible than bond funds?
They are less flexible than bond funds. They are more flexible than how the district has been utilizing them in the past. And so we have gotten the clarification we needed that allows us to certainly leverage and layer them with bond dollars. But again, it is for the specific purpose of being able to show the impact of growth in particular areas of the community. So not quite the same level of flexibility that a bond dollars can go anywhere in the district.
Well, just to clarify, because this is an important point. So the bond, but again, like bond dollars, and I'm assuming developer fee dollars can't be used for programs.
Correct.
Okay, I just wanted to be clear that.
Right, it's only for construction, reconstruction, and the term housing, which is a little confusing because what we're saying is actually a place to put kids.
Like a class.
A classroom, a temporary space potentially for where kids can be educated.
Yeah, I saw the unhoused thing. I was like,
right.
we do not have, never mind.
Right. So yeah, these funds are only, similar to bond dollars that they are for facilities, for construction, and not just, the thing that's challenging with this is that it can't necessarily just go toward routine restricted maintenance. It can't go toward a lot of deferred maintenance. It really is intended for those larger, again, that term statutorily is the construction and reconstruction. So it's really for like the large scale. It couldn't patch a roof, but could replace a roof. That would be an example.
Clerk Tabbitt.
So that was kind of my next comment, what you just started talking about. And look, we've all said it before. I know we're strapped for staff. And every time a board member goes, could you do this? Could you do that? It just puts added pressure. And I understand it takes away from what you need to do on a daily basis. But maybe at some point in time, would it be beneficial for someone to take a look and say, maybe these are some projects coming down that this money could be utilized on.
Yeah.
Or even create a list that says, hey, if you fall upon a project, these funds might be able to work
certainly.
for this. Would that be worthwhile for us to do that? Because time is money, I get it.
Yeah, no question. I think that's a great idea. And also just to add on to it, to supplement what you said, because I think it's a great idea and we will certainly do it. The School Facility Oversight Committee, the SFOC, does get a report at every one of their meetings on these funds, even though they're not technically under the purview of the SFOC, but for transparency and to tap into their expertise, they are always reported on the funding available, the projects that are being it's being utilized for, and their feedback is engaged. So.
And then just for clarification also, there is no direct correlation between needs of students and units being built, right? Developers will build whatever the markets are. Because sometimes people say, well, why don't you tell them we need more single homes or, to add on more students. But the reality is, right, it's really up to the developer and what they're building, right?
Yeah, certainly I think the developer has a lot of, he's going to likely do what the market is going to support. I think to Member Weisberg's comment, I think that the city, when it comes to what they're zoning and what types of entitlements they're giving, that's where there's a little bit more say for the community to be able to say what's actually in the best interest of the broader community rather than what's maximal outcome for a developer.
That's what I think that these projects are being driven by state and city mandates far more than developers are driving that, because
Just the numbers
they're
that
getting,
have to be built.
yeah, just the numbers, because they're getting the tax incentives and it's based on what they build. So, sorry.
Thank you. Any other questions? Thank you very much. Next, we have 11B enrollment update. Ms. Markinson? And you're going to show us a PowerPoint, right?
Yes.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yes, we do.
Dr. Kanian, can I ask that we move to 12A, doing the public hearing for the developer fee, since it's 7:30?
Yes, public hearing of intent of raise school facilities development, developer fee. I'm going to open the public hearing. Is there anyone interested in public speaking on this? Any public speakers? Do we see any? It's all right, everyone, don't.
Don't push.
It's hundreds, hold on, do we? All right, seeing none, we close the public hearing. All right, now back to 11B. Thank you, Vice President Kamkar.
So welcome.
Hi, how are you?
Hi, good evening, Board
Good evening.
President Agakanian, Vice President Panzer Kamkar, Clerk Tabbitt, members Weisberg and Kano, Superintendent Paramo, and district leaders and community members. My name is Julie Markison. I'm the current Director of Student Services for Burbank Unified, and I am here to give you an update about our enrollment. So a few things that I think are very important for us to keep in mind as a district is that it's kind of a sad reality, but enrollment is dropping statewide. I don't think that's a surprise to any of us right now. Most areas in the state are experiencing declining enrollment. Within a decade, California is projected to lose more than 500,000 students in K through 12 public schools. 12 counties in California are projected to lose 10,000 or more students between 2022, 2023, and up until 2032. 18 counties will lose students at a rate faster than the statewide average of 8.27. And I learned this recently, which I thought was a really interesting statistic, that there's only one school district in Los Angeles County that's not experiencing a decline in enrollment. Do you know which one it is?
All right, let's do a trivia. Let's go. What do you think? Just tell us. Burbank.
Las Virgenes Unified.
No, none of them. Do you know? It is Inglewood. Thank you, Byron. It's Inglewood. And that there was an interesting article recently, and it talks a lot about how that is really due, in fact, that there's a lot of job opportunities that have popped up. SoFi Stadium and the Forum, and it's close to LAX, SpaceX, and also Silicon Beach. So there are a lot of jobs in that area, and also some new housing. So our enrollment trends in Burbank, you can see in 2018, 2019, we had 15,114 students. And right now, we're sitting at 14,173. And you can see, except for that anomaly of 22, 23, it's going down each year. Our enrollment projections for the future continue on that downward trend. And by 2032, 2033, we will suffer a loss of more than 2,000 students in our district if enrollment keeps on this trend. Ramifications of declining enrollment. If you see from 2018 to 2024, we have lost 652 students in Burbank Unified, which the revenue total loss is just under $10 million for our district. That means that if we do continue on the same trend for enrollment decline, that by 2032 we'll lose almost $30 million. I want to go over a little bit of the statistics about the Burbank Unified Schools and their enrollment this year versus the projection for next year. But I have to make this clear that this does not include our inter-district permits, which that is because the window for that recently opened, and so we don't have an accurate count of that. But keep in mind that the average for inter-district permits, which are permits for students who do not live in Burbank, but maybe their parents likely work here 10 hours or more per week, those will be added in at a later date, but the average is usually about 150 students a year. Okay, so that's a little over about 2.3 million each year that we recoup from that. So in our elementary schools, you will see that, again, this is without our permits added in, but our biggest deficit is in the kindergarten area.
Would you prefer I wait to ask questions to the end?
Doesn't really matter to me. You may go ahead and ask.
Question.
Yes.
So looking at the pretty substantial drop in kindergarten, I'm assuming that's correlated to declining birth rate.
That's correct.
And because not everybody enrolls their kiddo in TK, so we're assuming kindergarten is kind of like the universal time, and this is substantially due to the fact that people aren't having as many children.
That's correct. Or people that are having children aren't moving into Burbank at the rates of other places. But again, that's a statewide thing too. So, but yes, that is why.
I mean, I think throughout this entire thing, it's really important to highlight the main causes of declining enrollment, which is not a decline in our education standards, but rather
Absolutely.
nowhere affordable to live, declining enrollment, and declining birth rate. But I would also love when you get there to talk about, and this could just be, this trend interests me when we see in third and fifth a drop and such a big increase in fourth.
Right.
I can kind of track some of the things, like why kids leave in eighth grade. Like that makes sense to me because that seems like a natural place to go. But like, why there's such an influx of fourth graders trip? It could be COVID related, I guess.
It just each year also fluctuates in enrollment too.
It's just it's such a big one.
Well, and also just remember look at the cohort is going to be really important to see. So when you see the current third grade cohort is going to become next year's fourth grade. And so it's really the fact that we have that large bubble right now in that third grade group that's just making their way down. So I don't think there's anything unique or anomalous about fourth grade per se, or even, fourth grade next year. It's just the fact that third is already large.
Right.
And on that, though, it is interesting to look at each year, each cohort is adding students, is what this looks like to me, than what I would assume would be the opposite, essentially, right? When people move out. I don't know what that means, but it's an interesting trend.
It is. And I've also noticed the trend that it seems like once kids are here in our Burbank schools, they stay. And when we do lose kids, it's usually because of, like we see, 5th to 6th or 8th to 9th, because for whatever reason people move or students go out of the district. But it's really that kindergarten that is right now the most interesting trend that we're seeing for the birth rates. For middle schools, you can see that we're actually, for next year, overall just a change of 6 students. So we're close, but again, we're going to see that bubble as it travels through the cohort, and it's going to, we'll see those trend down over the next several years. Interestingly, if you look 8th grade here is the one that will be, and that makes sense. So for John Burroughs High School and Burbank High School, the comprehensive schools together, we actually are up 181. So that looks great, but again, just keeping in mind trends. And interestingly, again, you'll see that they're all going up a little bit, but they're still not as large as they used to be. So this is looking the total BUSD secondary schools. So this is middle and high school together. And it looks like for next year, again, you'll see where those drops are, 8th grade, and a small number at 11th grade. So we're up 259 students. But again, the ripple effects as our elementary numbers decline over time will begin to show at both middle and high school. I've also included, there's an appendix of the individual schools if you would like to see further where those schools are most affected.
I think it could be at some point, because this I think would take a fair amount of work, but it would be interesting, because I found the appendices really helpful, but looking at these again, at some point, notating which of our schools are Title I and taking a look at some of the economic contributors to these things, because I think that also helps us get a sense of what might be contributing if we're seeing student decline in specific schools as opposed to other schools, and we can start to puzzle out a little bit more as to, I mean, we're never going to know, but I think it's helpful to start to explore the why if we have a little bit more information on the sort of unique personality of each of those of our school communities, because we're really going to have to be creative in how we approach this issue. And so I think the more detailed info we can get, perhaps that could help us.
I think too, once we have better data on our inter-district permits, that will help. We've been looking in my office at data of why students are leaving. And I'm happy to provide that. An interesting trend that we've seen is it's generally in around the surrounding areas and districts, it's generally not because of programs. So, when districts have introduced different programs and brought in more programs, it's not necessarily helping with the bleeding of enrollment.
Can I just a really quick comment, a couple really quick comments, just to create some context. So the first thing I want to say is that this is the first time I've seen such a comprehensive report that is not only summative data, but you can see in the appendices that Julie has gone through and looked at each school site. So in terms of the presentation, because I want the public to understand this, if we had gone through every school site's data, we would have an hour-and-a-half presentation. So we want the data to be out there. We want to be transparent about it. That is why the data is provided. But when we actually did the presentation tonight, we just stuck to the summative slides. Second thing I want to say is I know, like you, I'm looking at the data for secondary, and it looks very positive. And I'm not trying to be a Debbie Downer, but what I'm going to tell you is that my guess is that when we come back in a couple months, that it's not going to see a plus 200 and some odd kids. And I'll tell you why. There's a lot of really good reasons why. It's not because this data is wrong. You are going to have a cohort of kids that are going to be identified that will be going to Monterey High School. You will have open opportunities for kids to move into the ILA while others are exiting. You also have this dynamic that is very difficult to project, and that is family with family, particularly now when there are implications with immigration. So I want to be positive, but I feel like this number is, while positive, is not going to remain that way and is probably going to decrease. That's my guess. Right now, everything's a guess, and this is our best projection. But I don't think you're going to see that. I think that at best we're going to stay flat, which makes more sense to me. But we'll see. And if I'm wrong, then I think it's going to be wrong in a positive way.
Just a quick clarifying question. So Monterey and ILA numbers are not counted in what we're looking at?
Just the comprehensive schools.
Great. And I also did not mean to imply that this was not a comprehensive plan. It's fantastic. It just makes me want more data.
Right.
And I totally understand why we couldn't have all of that. So, okay, so
It's a fairly small sample size too.
so outside of Monterey and ILA, is there any other school site that isn't counted in what we're looking at? So it's just the comprehensive sites? Okay.
Those are the only two that would not be.
Thank you.
Vice President Kamkar.
I apologize for not catching this earlier, potentially, but there does seem to be something weird going on with the secondary ones on this side, right? Like, I wouldn't think that the cohorts would be twice as large, and that doesn't seem to be what it is in the appendix.
It's a
so-
typo. We
Okay.
caught that too.
Okay, I'm like, how did I not see that? Okay, cool. Just making sure. So like the one in the appendix is right for the high schools. Got it. Thank
That's
you.
correct.
So, do we have any data on students who were Burbank Unified, then decided to go to another district? No, I mean, not district-wise, but like go to private school or so. Do we have exits?
Yes, we do. We keep track of the reasons when they exit.
And what is the biggest reason?
Moving away. Moving out of the state or to a different area of Los Angeles.
And since we have millions of viewers watching this right now, so can we also clarify what the requirements are for people who don't live in Burbank but want their kids to go to Burbank schools?
They must work in Burbank at least 10 hours a week. And there are also some ways that you can do it with a caregiver affidavit if you have someone who's providing care to your child in the city of Burbank. And there are some forms that anyone can come and fill out or talk to us in the Student Services Office if they're interested in that.
And also, just out of curiosity, I don't know if there's a law, but at what point in terms of enrollment, does the state come in and say, okay, you're not meeting criteria, it's time to, is there such a rule? So what is generally a rule of a school that at one point you have to say, you know what, we're at that certain number now? Is it? Yeah, for an individual, like 200, 100, it doesn't matter, right?
There's nothing that states that.
But as a district also, we have some concerns, right, with some schools that
Sure.
the enrollment.
Sure. I mean, honestly, I'll just say anecdotally that 20 years ago, when I was the assistant principal at John Burroughs High School, we had an enrollment of upwards of 2,700 kids, and we have 2,200 and something now. And that's just an anecdotal piece of data from the top of my head. And that's 500 less students just at that one school. So I think that that's what we're looking at. A more sobering piece of data is consider what the two comprehensive high schools have in terms of senior class, right? What's that number? And then compare that to where we are with kinder at this exact moment in time. That's where you can really see the drastic difference. That means that when these kinder kids move all the way up to 12th grade, that cohort's not going to get bigger. That cohort traditionally, because of attrition, gets smaller unless there's an anomaly. But that's where it becomes very, very sobering as to what our situation is.
Yes, Vice President Kemp.
I want to stick up for the class of 2037. They'll be very strong. But Dr. Arcani, what I was going to say was that, like, in my experience in working with kind of individual school sites and looking at finances, it's very hard to run a school from an administrative perspective and from a financial perspective if the school is under about 400 kids. Like, that's where things start to get very uncomfortable in terms of resources.
And correct me if I'm wrong.
But there's no, like, ed code rule.
There is
about,
nothing that says
no,
that's certain. But correct me if I'm wrong also, like a lot of districts now, like Linwood, I heard they're closing a bunch of schools because of attrition, right? And a couple of other districts.
Yeah, I mean, what I'm going to say is not going to be popular, but I just got back from Sacramento. I was at a conference with about 30 superintendents, and it was for 3 days. And the research we were given was that in terms of declining enrollment, adding a more robust dual immersion program, adding a magnet, adding academies are not giving you the draw on enrollment that you think they're going to give you, because this is a different issue. This is a different problem. And so what we're looking at in terms of data, at least from my perspective, is forcing us to look at a reality that we already have elementary schools that are well below 400 that could conceivably drop down closer to 300 in a very short amount of time. And that is a conversation that is difficult to have, but is a reality nonetheless.
Thank you. Board Member Kano.
Just because I've just been, we're aware of the declining birth rate. And so I guess I was kind of just looking at it right now in terms of, again, it's not just so everybody knows, it's not just California that people are going, oh, people hate California, so they're leaving and they're going to Tennessee, right? It's global. So, I mean, people are different choices. Women are more educated. We have, people have the choice to be able to do this. So basically, it's not changing anytime soon. So if we're looking at it like, well, let's just wait and we're going to get a whole new influx. Globally, it's just not.
Mm-hmm. We have a great school district. We do. And that's why it's nothing to do with the quality, like Dr. Weisberg said. It's just, where are the kids? Mm-hmm.
Any other questions from my colleagues? Thank you very much
Thank
for
you.
a wonderful presentation. All right, 13, new and unfinished business. 13A, adoption of Resolution 31 proclaiming May 6, 2025 as Day of Teacher and May 5th, 2025 through May 9, 2025 as Burbank Unified School District Teacher Appreciation Week.
So moved.
Moved by Dr. Weisberg, seconded by Vice President Ponser-Kamkar. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes unanimously. Dr. Weisberg.
Whereas education is the most vital activity we as a society undertake to ensure the well-being of the nation. I'm going to say that again for some people in high places.
Say it again. Say it.
Education is the most vital activity we as a society undertake to ensure the well-being of the nation. And an educated citizenry serves as the foundation of our democracy. And education is in large measure the result of the talent and commitment of teachers. And today's teachers mold the minds and train the workforce of the future. And good teaching grows in value and pays dividends far beyond the classroom. And whereas teachers are a source of caring, concern, counseling, empathy, warmth, and inspiration, and whereas Burbank's teachers are among the best educated, highly qualified, and hardest working educators in the country, and whereas teachers in the Burbank Unified School District exemplify these qualities, and whereas the Board of Education and leadership of the Burbank Unified School District recognize the truly vital role of teachers in realizing the mission for public education, therefore be it resolved that the Board of Education extends its sincere appreciation to the teachers of the Burbank Unified School District and encourages the community to recognize and celebrate the accomplishments of the district's teaching staff, and hereby proclaims May 6th as the Day of the Teacher and May 5th through 9th as Burbank Unified School District Teacher Appreciation Week.
Thank you, Dr. Weisberg, and we appreciate you as being a teacher, Ms. Kano, our former teacher, Clerk Tabet, and Vice President Kamkar, who's my teacher. She always corrects me all the time, so thank you very much. And congratulations to all of our teachers. Okay, 13B, adoption of Resolution 32, proclaiming May 7, 2025 as School Nurse Day.
Second.
Moved by Vice President Ponser-Kamkar, seconded by Dr. Weisberg. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Motion passes unanimously. Vice President.
Thank you. All right. Resolution 32 proclaiming May 7th, 2025 as School Nurse Day. Whereas National Nurses Week is May 6th through 12th each year and draws attention to and celebrates the contribution that nurses and nursing make to the community, with the full week of recognition culminating on Florence Nightingale's birthday, May 12th. And whereas there are approximately 60,000 registered nurses in the United States public school system who care for more than 52 million students, and whereas school nursing is a specialized practice of professional nursing that advances the well-being, academic success, and lifelong achievement of students, facilitates positive student responses to normal development, promotes health and safety, intervenes with actual and potential health problems, provides case management services, and builds student and family capacity for adaptation, self-management, self-advocacy, and learning through the collaboration with professionals and other disciplines. And whereas school nurses assist students in achieving optimal wellness to enhance readiness to learn, improve school attendance rates, ensure that students entering school are free of communicable diseases, and provide interventions that promote the well-being of students. And whereas giving generously of their time and talent for a multitude of projects, school nurses assist in the maintenance of healthy and safe school environments in the district. And whereas the Board of Education of the Burbank Unified School District expresses strong support and deep gratitude to the past and present school nurses for their commitment and dedication to the students and staff of the Burbank Unified School District, now therefore be resolved that May 7th, 2025 be recognized as School Nurse Day in Burbank Unified School District.
Thank you, Vice President Ponce Kamkar. You can have a drink now after. 13C, adoption of Resolution 33 proclaiming the week of May 5th, 2025 through May 9th, 2025 as Substitute Teacher Appreciation Week. Can I get a motion? Moved by Clerk Tabbitt. This one goes to Vice President Ponce Kamkar. You want to
Thank you.
read?
I got it right here.
There
Ready
you
to
go. Thank you. Go ahead.
Resolution 33 proclaiming May 5th through 9th, 2025 as Substitute Teacher Appreciation Week. Whereas education is the most vital activity we as a society undertake to ensure the well-being of the nation. And whereas substitute teachers are an essential part to the education of our children, and whereas substitute teachers provide continuity in the learning process as well as a safe and healthy learning environment for students, and whereas substitute teachers work tirelessly to serve our children and community with care and professionalism, and whereas substitute teachers are a source of caring, concern, counseling, empathy, warmth, and inspiration. And whereas the role of substitute teachers may be different from that of the regular teacher in some aspects, but is equally demanding, equally essential, and equally professional. And whereas the Board of Education and leadership of the Burbank Unified School District recognize the truly vital role of substitute teachers in realizing the mission for public education. Now, therefore, it be resolved that the Board of Education extends its sincere appreciation to the substitute teachers of the Burbank Unified School District and encourages the community to recognize and celebrate the accomplishments of the district's substitute teaching staff, and hereby proclaims May 5th through 9th as Substitute Teacher Appreciation Week.
Thank you, Clerk Tabbitt. 13D, adoption of Resolution 34 proclaiming May 2nd, 2025 as School Lunch Hero Day.
So moved.
Second?
Moved by Dr. Weisberg, seconded by Vice President Kamkar. Ms. Weisberg. Dr. Weisberg. Oh, sorry. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes unanimously. Dr. Weisberg.
Ms. Cano, do you want to read it?
Okay.
It's a nice short one.
Yeah. No, I'm pretty good. I got this reading thing down now. I'm pretty good.
She's like pretty literate.
So now I'm going to totally blow. There's so much pressure on me now. I'm just going to just blow over the whole thing. Okay.
You need some Armenian coffee.
Resolution 34 proclaiming May 2nd, 2025 as School Lunch Hero Day. Whereas the efforts of the food service classified staff members of the Burbank Unified School District are essential to the successful operation of the district's programs, and whereas the nutritious school meals are an essential part of the school day, and whereas food and nutrition professionals are committed to providing healthful, nutritious meals to the district's children so they are ready to learn, and whereas the women and men who prepare and serve school meals help nurture our children through their daily interaction and support, and whereas food and nutrition professionals demonstrate on a consistent basis their concern through patience and kindness toward our students, and whereas their efforts and commitment to children and their contributions are extremely important to the overall operation of our schools, and now therefore be it resolved that the Burbank, now I blew it. That the Board of Education extends its sincere appreciation to the food and nutrition professional employees of the Burbank Unified School District and encourages the community to recognize and honor their contributions to a quality education and celebrate their accomplishments, and hereby proclaim May 2nd, 2025 as School Lunch Hero Day.
Thank you very much. Very well done. And again, I've said this before, but I say it again. When I first came here in school, the lunch ladies were my heroes because they spoke my language. I was new here, didn't speak it, and they were there. And you know, one thing I missed though, I missed the potato things. They don't make them anymore apparently. Remember the smashed potatoes with a little crust on it? It's like a little. No, it was like smashed potato. You know,
You
with
went to LA Unified, right?
no, yeah, no. Cheese on it. You know what I'm talking about? Come on. No, it wasn't a hash brown. It was.
keep doing this. I can't know how to talk about potatoes.
Okay, never mind.
There was the amazing mashed potatoes.
Mashed potato with cheese.
No, and over it, it had turkey with gravy.
Gravy. Thank you very much.
Oh my God.
Mashed potato with gravy. They don't have it anymore, right?
With what?
Yeah, mashed
Turkey
potato with
gravy.
gravy. Bring it back.
Turkey chunks.
Bring it back, lunch heroes. Thank you. All right, no more to it. 13E, adoption of Resolution 35, increasing level 1 developer fees. Mr. Cantwell, what is, can you tell us what? You just covered, thank you. Just wanted to make sure. All right, can I get a motion and second? It's a disclaimer, I have to read. Thank you. We have a motion by Vice President Camcor and a second by Dr. Weisberg. All in favor, say aye. Aye, motion passes unanimously. 13F, approval of Administrative Regulation 6171, Title I programs. Dr. Knappich.
This board action item reflects a few changes in Administrative Regulation 6171 for Title I programs. It features a change from the old program improvement process to a newer one where it includes like 3 levels of program improvement, so to speak, and each year we get a determination from the California Department of Education of areas where schools have a deficit. For example, it could be in reading language arts or English language arts. It could be in mathematics. It could be in chronic absenteeism. It could be reflecting of English learner progress. So it identifies school by school and area by subgroup that would need to be worked on by the school to fix it, so to speak.
Just a clarifying question, in looking at it, so then the stuff that's been struck out at the bottom is the old way.
Correct.
And then I'm assuming the stuff at the top, the bolded stuff, is probably, okay, just wanted to make sure I was
Correct.
looking at the right thing.
The
Thank
bold
you.
is the new, the cross-out is the old.
Thank you.
Yep.
Yes, Vice President Camcor.
The discussion of title funds actually makes me think that if we haven't already, we should send the rest of the board members the presentation that was given at 5-Star, where she was talking about the potential impact for federal funding. I think she was fairly optimistic, is kind of what I heard, that it wouldn't be changed. I don't know if that changes anything with announcements that came out yesterday or today. So, but if we can make sure that the rest of the board members get that, that would be great.
Yes.
Thank you, and we appreciate that. Any other questions? Do we have a motion and second? Moved by Clerk Tavik, seconded by Vice President Ponce Camcor. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion passes unanimously. 14, consent agenda. I have a motion and second to approve items 14A through 14O.
So moved.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes unanimously. Thank you very much. Now we're going to, we have no retirements tonight, so we're going to reports from board members.
It's not an optional. Yes. Hold on, let me get to it. I have some stuff. Okay, hold on. I've been on spring break, so I've gone places. I was able to attend, Mr. Juan Avila did a fantastic parent education meeting today at Huerta on teenage brain development and executive functioning skills. The library was packed. It was really cool to see so many parents there, moms and dads, getting some validation, and also it was exciting to see they were able to give out some free resources to parents. So I learned a lot, and and encourage anytime there's a parent education offering, definitely take advantage. I was able to go to the Adult Schools College and Career Fair. Thank you to Juan Noguera and Todd LaVenture for always being so welcoming. It was awesome. It was way bigger than I remember it being. So many different Burbank institutions showed up. Special shout out to Gain Credit Union. They were there talking about the awesome class you can take on financial literacy, the public library, and some of our amazing union partners, LAOC Building Trades, IBEW were there, and there were a lot of people. So it's clearly meeting a need, and I can't wait to see it expand further and thank them for that amazing work. Shout out to Burroughs High School VMA for cleaning up in Arizona and their most recent round of choral competitions. It's all the accolades are too long to read, but great work. I did also want to give a big shout out to something that I didn't know that was brought to my attention, which is the choir at Huerta, the Dolores Huerta Middle School Madrigals, which is advanced choir. They performed at Carnegie Hall last Sunday with the National Youth Chorus under the direction of Dr. Jeffrey Redding. They joined 13 other choirs from around the country for an intense weekend of rehearsal, culminating in a spectacular performance of choral work at the world-famous Carnegie Hall. Of all the choirs that auditioned, the Madrigals were the only middle school choir in the country selected to participate in this opportunity. And they were tasked with learning and performing music, which was normally done by advanced high school choirs. So super, super, super proud of them. Maybe we can find an agenda to celebrate them, have them come in and give them a big shout out. Perform like razzle dazzle. And I wanted to thank Kiki Franklin for bringing this to my attention because I didn't know. There's so much good stuff that happens all the time. And I want to just encourage what. Well, I know we approved the trip and consent agenda, but I don't think it said in the consent agenda that they crushed it. But I hope that people will reach out and tell us when more amazing things are happening so that we can give a little bit of a shout out because everybody's doing amazing work. And the last thing I wanted to say is just to thank district staff and the facilities leadership for handling what was an extraordinarily difficult week, site leadership at Edison, and just everybody pulling together like the amazing community we are. Even when there's quadruple work on top of all the regular work, just want to thank everybody for all the time and attention they invested.
Thank you, Dr. Weisberg. Board Member Kano?
Okay, I didn't get a chance to do too many things last week because I was actually doing parent conferences this last week. So, overall though, I did want to say thank you to people who have been sending things to us and letting me know like when things are coming up and that I definitely will try to make it. I go on to spring break in actually in 2 weeks, so hopefully I'll be able to get up to some more things. And then to people who have emailed me, I know we got a lot of emails right now from BTA members. Definitely I get them. If I don't respond, obviously it's usually I'm in the classroom, so I will try to respond in a timely manner.
Thank you. Clerk Tabbitt.
It's really good to hear, thank you, Dr. Weisberg, to remind us what amazing performance groups we have from our middle school choirs and our drama departments and our high school choirs, our high school IMAs. We're going Saturday night to hear the Burbank High Jazz Band in a special performance. It's a busy weekend. There's a track meet on Saturday. Ooh. But talking about our wonderful, wonderful performing arts, we are a performing arts district, and we need to remind ourselves of that. So I attended the memorial service of Barbara Beckley on Saturday. Barbara was the originator, the organizer, the creator, the owner of the Colony Theater that started in Silver Lake and then moved with the help of City of Burbank Parks and Recreation to their current location here. They have been over the years amazingly supportive of our performing arts group. In fact, I think Burbank High is performing Hamlet there this weekend. Mm-hmm. I know Burroughs Choir has done a a cappella performances there. It's a beautiful theater, small and intimate, but really well organized. And she was an amazing, amazing leader. I mean, sounds like a ridiculous thing to say, but it was probably one of the best memorial services I have ever been to, which, right? That's not a normal thing to say. But it was well planned, very in the mind of theater people, and the people who spoke were amazing, and it was a beautiful tribute to a beautiful life well lived. And I know many people in this community will miss Barbara a lot, and I know folks in the school district will as well, and so hoping that the tradition of the Colony Theater and Barbara Beckley lives on for a long, long time. So so next time, because I've got all kinds of plans for this weekend with Burbank Unified things, so we'll hear more about that then. Thank you.
Thank you. Vice President Ponce-Camcor.
I know, Ms. Tabbitt. I was like, next meeting is going to be a real barn buster of announcements, because my next week is, I don't know that I will see my family. And they're probably the better for it, to be honest. I mentioned 5-star. We had Dr. Sarah Neiman, who you may remember, come and talk to us mostly about. There was a lot of stuff in there, but just kind of what's happening in Sacramento. Talked a little bit about legislation. I did bring up our the AB 477, which is the increase to the base grant, that we should, as a group of 5-star folks, potentially put something together on that, even though it's unlikely that they might fund that. So she had good news about potential, it wasn't as bad as I think it could have been, right? That the numbers are kind of staying where we thought they were going to be back when we first saw the budget in December. The other thing, I've got 2 other things. Dr. Agakanian and I and Dr. Pramo had a joint meeting with the mayor and the vice mayor and Courtney Paget from the city clerks or the city staff office. We will have a potential agenda to bring back at the next meeting to go over with this group. Courtney Paget mentioned that there were 10 items that between city and board we requested at the last joint meeting. So we think we have whittled it down to 3 more somewhat manageable. But high on our list was essentially much of the presentation that was given tonight on enrollment, because I think it's important that they know that. Tomorrow I will be going to Muir because they have a barn burner of a day. They have JPL there tomorrow. They are having a documentary film festival. They are having Let's Do Lunch, which is like students and friends and family friendly. I don't know. Approximately 150 parents and students of 7th grade students. So looking forward to stopping by Muir and trying to get all of those 4 things or 3 things checked off. And then reminder that tomorrow night is also the all-city track meet, right, for middle school at Memorial Stadium. So, yeah. No, it's Friday.
Tomorrow at 4:30.
Yep. So, hope to see you all there. And that's it.
All right.
And tomorrow also, Stevenson Elementary is having their fundraiser at Chuck E. Cheese.
Thank you. Thank you, and thank you, my colleagues. So again, we had a wonderful meeting. I want to thank Mayor Perez and Vice Mayor Takahashi for meeting with us. Very, very productive meeting, and we right in 1 hour, so that was great. So, I think my colleagues have covered pretty much everything. Just again, don't forget tomorrow night 4:30 at the Burbank Memorial Field. That will be the track. Memorial Field, right? Okay, yes. And then at 6, one of my favorite events, Miller Multicultural Night. So if you've never been to the Miller Multicultural Night, please go support our parents. It's wonderful. I do want to thank Dr. Kanapik because, as you may recall, years ago we started kind of this tradition, so including the Friendship Bench. So thank you, Dr. Kanapik. I know they've grown tremendously. I mean, Edison was just huge now too. So thank you. And with that said, the meeting is adjourned at 8:18.